Okay, a couple of things that I want to make sure that you pick up from today. Today is Friday, August 19th, and in class today we went over survey reminders. We're going to talk about handbook reminders and rules for the class really quickly and not to insult your intelligence. We're going to be taking a look at the course description and marking just a couple of things that make my class different from other teacher classes. We're going to talk about extra credit notebooks, and at the end we're going to share some photos which will not be included in this video. You should have been in class. Mr. Kaplinger already touched on those, and maybe your homework teacher did too, but I promised the freshman teachers that I would include them with a visual aid and talk to you in a no-nonsense way about them. So, attendance. 26 days is the rule for unexcused absences for the year. I live in Courthouse in Washington Senior High School, it's 10. So I'm thinking that maybe they'll trim them up even while you're here. It's just amazing that you would be allowed to miss 26 days. In some districts, kids are only allowed to miss 10 for the whole year. Anyway, know that you're going to get an F if you miss a bunch of days that are unexcused within a 9 weeks. If you miss a bunch of days for the year, like that 26 plus, even when you get to being sick and like you have surgery, you have to be in class 85% of the time. That's a state requirement. So you don't want to get stuck in a boat. I had seniors that couldn't graduate unless they paid $20 an hour for a tutor and had to get like 16, 17, 18 hours in to kind of get back to where they needed to be for getting credit for the year. So that gets really, really expensive. I'm willing to help you with what's in the green here. Following an absence from school, students will have 72 hours to submit a note to excuse the absence. If I can help you with that, please let me know. If you forget your doctor's note and you come to me and you're like, Strick, can I text my mom and remind her to like get my doctor's note because I need it? If you were like, Strick, can I use your computer to get the fax number for my doctor's office or get the fax number for the school? Strick, can I run this excuse down? I forgot to do it this morning. I will be willing to do whatever it takes to get those absences excused to help you. So please make sure you take care of that because after 72 hours, it's just unexcused and everything goes to zero that was taken in progress book. Even if it was like a quiz or something, it's just a zero. I'm not allowed to take points for it. That's our district handbook. So excused absences, work cannot be made up. Some teachers don't check. Some teachers may not care. I care because attendance is a really big problem in our district. And if teachers are just going to let kids who skip school for no reason make up work, why would they come to school anyway? They could just make it up. Doesn't make any sense to me. So I hold students very, very tightly to these rules. I did such a good job last year. I was so proud of myself. So no, I'm going to check. You'll be like, oh yeah, I got it excused. I got it excused. I just forgot my slip. Bull crap. I'll call bull crap. I just check the records online. If you make up work, it's a day plus one. Who's taking Spanish? Anyone? I'm going to give you a situation and tell you how it would work. Mrs. Rittenauer might give quizzes on Fridays. Like every Friday, like the vocabulary for the week, all the Spanish words you're supposed to know, the colors, the weather, etc. If Mrs. Rittenauer on Monday says, hey guys, here's your vocabulary words, we're having a quiz on Friday. If you miss Thursday in class, you still have to take the test on Friday if it's announced ahead of time. That is in our handbook. Now, she might be compassionate and different teachers might say, all right, I'll give you another day to study, but that's a judgment call. The only time I give extra time, like before a quiz, is if we did like a review game. I'll let you play the review game as your makeup work. I'll give you my laptop and say, play some Jeopardy, because that's what you, as long as your absence is excused, you have the right to make up that work and have that same classroom experience. I think the last thing in here, well, I have dress code in here, but I haven't seen too many issues. Please know that your first period teacher, according to our teacher handbook, is responsible for checking your outfits. So in first period, if your teacher's like looking at you a little closely, it's because if you get sent to the office later on in the day for like having a beer t-shirt, then and like they didn't catch it in first period, it comes back on them. So I really am just responsible for my first period class most of all. So. Cell phone usage, banned in the classrooms. I let cell phones be used for a lot of things. I don't have dictionary, so I'll have students download the dictionary.com app. Okay. Siri will tell you how to spell certain things if you're making a poster and you need to check how to spell anti-disestablishmentarianism. If Siri's not being a jerk that day, Siri might tell you. The rule is you have to get permission. The problem is that since I let students use them for different things, they stop asking for permission. Okay? That's going to be the same as not getting permission. And it's going to be kind of the same warning write-ups and things that Mr. Kaplinger is so sick of dealing with as well. Earbuds and cell phones. How many of you keep earbuds like in your locker out of this classroom? Just show me and like wiggle your hand. All right. For makeup work, I might want you to watch something on YouTube, and you don't have to do it in class. You can do it on your own time, but sometimes you might need me to explain how to do an assignment that we're working on, and I don't have time to explain it to you. On this back computer is like where I put students for makeup work, because it has the printer, and like I have a set of headphones back there. They're kind of crappy. They're like the dollar kind at the dollar store, and they can spread germs and stuff. So if you end up using someone else's, headphones, you may want to like wipe them off with like some hand sanitizer first or something to kill germs. But I think earbuds come in really handy. I don't allow a lot of listening to music in class. I do really only when we're working on a paper and you're like working on fixing and correcting it. Like if we're in the lab, oftentimes I'll let you listen to music while you're doing that. That's something I think can be done while you rock out. Okay, and those are the things I promised to go over from the handbook. Here's my classroom rules. I'm not going to insult your intelligence. You know how classroom rules go. So I want you to raise your hand to speak. That's just for order. There's some exceptions to that. Sometimes the whole room will be in a circle. I want to have fun that day if the room is in a circle. You know that we're probably having a discussion or we're playing a game or we're doing something creative. So be happy. It's usually a little more of an interesting day if the room is in a circle. But other than that, I do want you to raise your hand to speak. It's just polite and to your teacher. Don't take away someone's right to learn. If I can't get you to shut up and someone is trying to concentrate, I do tend to get angry. That's the only thing I get angry about. I don't get angry about a lot of things, but I get angry when someone's trying to read and someone on the other side of the room won't shut up. I mean, that's just where I just send kids out of class. I just kick them out of class. I do discipline. I call parents because every kid has the right to learn. So if you're in a class and the teacher's not doing their job of keeping that class quiet and you're failing math because you can't concentrate in math, that's an issue for the principal or our school counselor. Everyone has a right to be able to learn. If that was my child, if you were my child and you were in math or in English class and your teacher wouldn't keep it quiet enough that you could read, I would be in to talk to that teacher and they'd be scared of me. Teachers are scared of me. I'm one of those parents. So stay in your seat unless you have an academic purpose, like sharpening your pencil. I should tell you, the poster printer is not working. None of our printers or copiers are working. However, over here, whenever it is working, it'll say Student Center. Anything on this table really is for you. It's a place for you to like hole punch things before you turn them in. There's tissues, hand sanitizer, ladies, gentlemen. I'll put lotion over there in case your skin's dry. You just want to use a little bit of it. No problem. This laptop, I like deleted everything off of it except for like the internet. Really, it's not the fastest running, but if you need to check something, you don't have to ask my permission to use that computer. When you'll eventually have a name, you have to put your name in to get onto the internet. But if you want to check anything, like you might have to send a paper to another teacher or like print an assignment, or you need help with something on there, you just want to check something, check your email, I don't care. That's for student use. Don't ask me because I don't have the time to give you permission for it. So if you need to use it, go ahead and use it. Take ownership. I would rather have a student who's lazy than a student who lies. So if you screw up something, don't be like, oh, well, I lost it. I'll bring it to you later. Just say, you know what? I didn't do it, but I'm going to try to work on it at lunch and I'll bring it to you. Okay? Take the shame out of it and just get down to business. How are you going to fix this problem? It's your problem. Teachers don't like students who lie. Teachers, I will not, if you lie to me, I will never be in a room alone with you with the door shut. Okay? One lie can ruin an entire teacher's career. So if you're a dishonest person, I want to stay as far away from you as humanly possible. And I might not like you anymore, quite honestly, because I don't get paid to like you. I get paid to teach you. Just don't lie. Try not to lie. Okay? It's not worth it. Just tell the truth. Cell phones stay permitted unless you get permission to use them for class. Sometimes it'll be good. I'll be like, okay, if you have your phone, get it out. You can use it for the dictionary. Don't waste time. If you want to have fun, if you like candy and treats and a teacher who's happy and plays music and like plays YouTube videos, then let's get our work done. And then the time we have left, we will relax and chill and be happy and get to know each other. So please do it. All right, grab this sheet. And if you need one, I think I have about 5 extras. And that's all I'm going to be able to Xerox. while you're getting the sheet out, let's talk about notebooks, because I know you're going to have to keep a notebook for math, correct? You keep a notebook for Spanish. You should be keeping a notebook for history. Does Mr. Ruby, have you keep a notebook? Okay. Since I have writing portfolios, I don't do notebook checks as a part of class grades. I do it as extra credit. So every 9 weeks during the 8th week, which is like where you take tests and you take your assessment for that week, then I will give you a notebook quiz. You don't even have to take it because it's just extra credit. Let's say that Riley has kept like 3 of his handouts. He can get a few points probably on that notebook check. They're just extra credit points. If you're super organized, or even if you just keep your crap, extra credit for the organizational skills. Up here I started a notebook list. One thing that really is going to help me this year is I'm putting the dates that I handed out. So kids will lie to you and be like, oh, I was absent when you gave me that. Oh, really? You were absent on the 18th? No, you weren't. I don't want to hear it. So what I do is I put the first words that are on there. There's a quote on the top of your course description. So the quote's here, and it says course description. And so that they don't have to be in order necessarily. It's just a list of things that I expect you to keep. I don't give a lot of notes. That doesn't mean in a lecture, but I'll do where I give you a handout and you just fill in a few blanks. We don't have time. I don't have time to have you take notes for 3 days. It's just a waste of time, in my opinion, for all the stuff that we have to do. So I'll still lecture. I'll put my lectures on YouTube. You'll fill in some blanks, but you won't do a lot of note taking on notebook paper. Maybe none at all, unless I don't know, unless the copiers all break and I have to do it just for that day or something. So this is the first thing that I gave you. And it's really important to me because it has contact information and stuff. So I'll make sure I get a few extras, and I'll take pity on you for your first one, but I just don't have a copy machine or a printer right now. So we're going to point out just a couple of things here, including my typos. In my class, if you're the first person in the class to find the typo, I typically give Jolly Ranchers. You have to do something when you're a teacher, when you embarrass yourself and you make mistakes, and it's going to happen no matter what. I work on my worksheets in the morning when I first get up and I'm tired, so sometimes I just spell words wrong. Suit was, I know I had a typo yesterday as well. So if you're the first person to find it, usually I give candy for you paying attention. So look for those typos, but I found these first. So I wasn't aware that my conference period was going to be different this year. So my conference period is actually 7th period. What a great time for a cup of coffee. Your other if you want to come talk to me, I prefer that you try to, do that then. I'll write you a pass back to your 7th period class if you stop by. Hey, Strid, I have to turn this in. Or, hey, Strid, I'm leaving for the day. Can I have my makeup? Course description. This is really la-di-da, we're going to cover English standards, etc. But this is Language Arts 1. I had a girl say, is this an advanced class? I'm like, no, that's a typo. Sorry. I mean, we do everything in language arts, everything reading, everything writing. A main goal of this year is already underlined, but will you highlight that? Because I might put that on your notebook quiz. So our main goal of our year is student composition. Mr. Kaplinger let me become a freshman teacher. He didn't want to. He even told me no 3 times. But I said, I promise I will make them better writers. And then they finally gave me my way. So good for me. Bad for me, good for me. So we're going to be doing a lot of writing. Since I have such a large class, it takes a long time to grade 110 papers, we'll probably at least start the year with short pieces of writing. Okay, so that it doesn't take a month to get them back or anything, so you can get them back quick and kind of see on a smaller level. So we're going to be working on that. That's going to be my SLO goal, if you're familiar with those. And lots of my kids did really well last year. A lot of kids, my juniors that I did my SLO with, they learned a lot. Yes, sir. And it's just, I have to set goals for my classes. And then they give me a letter grade on how good I did my job as a teacher. And I can even lie, but I don't tend to lie in my data. So it's just a way to grade teachers to see if kids learn in their classes. It involves testing. Go figure, doesn't everything now? Yeah, I don't like testing either. It's a part of life. We don't do a tremendous amount of testing other than the stuff we have to do in this class, if that makes you happy. So let's talk about grading. And here's what I need you to highlight. So if you can see under grading, highlight balance of formative and summative. Now, if you don't have yours, you can always watch this YouTube video, or when I get you an extra copy, you can highlight from there. Balance of formative and summative. These are words you can throw down and sound smart, but really what it means is teachers are going to take grades for credit, and teachers are going to take grades that are correctness, like how well you can read, how well you can write, how many vocabulary words did you learn. Usually, as long as you do the work that's for credit, I don't think you should fail English class. Okay? You get a solid C if you kind of hang in there and you're there and you do your work and you do your makeup work, even if you suck at language arts. You're going to pass, okay, if you can do that. But I do take summative grades, and I take a lot of grades. In the course of a week, I take around 4 to 5 grades. A couple of them credit, a couple of them correctness. Usually they're all small because they take a lot. I'm not going to go over this, but this is how I break down my points as far as how valuable things are. So homework usually won't fail you. I mean, if you don't do your homework, it may just be like half a letter grade of your grade that goes down, or a letter grade, depending on what your grade is. But projects and quizzes, class assignments, and I tend to let you know how many points they're worth. And if something is really important, you'll know ahead of time. I won't just give you something and be like, oh, I took it as a test grade. That's not fair. So you can look more at that if you want. I think parents sometimes like to see that. I want you to highlight this line, this whole thing. Something that's different. Each 9 weeks, we're going to have a paper or a writing project that we're going to work on. I know during the first 9 weeks, it's going to be power paragraphing for the freshmen. And so it's something that we're going to spend a decent amount of time on, you know, pre-writing, going to the lab, typing it out, getting it edited, getting it back, and fixing it. So if a kid screws up and they don't do it, and then they're absent and then they don't do it, not doing those writing pieces might cause a kid to fail. So these are the only types of assignments that students are permitted to submit past the makeup work window. I will take them all 9 weeks. So if you didn't write your paper, you might be in here the last few days coming in at lunch, because if not, you're going to fail. So it's always going to be worth at least 50% of the points so that people don't find themselves getting like 12% for the 9 weeks. I want you to check your progress book. Kids, I've gotten emails. I tell juniors and seniors, don't mess with senior girls and their grades. They will email you at like midnight. Like, excuse me, I got a 23 on my test, and you said I got a 22. Can I have that point back, please? Yeah, okay, that's your right. I'd be one of those kids that would be emailing my teacher. So I also had Jacob Sevens last year who was like, could you put in a few more grades because I'm grounded, and I need a few more grades in. And I'll be like, all right, well, I'll put sometimes if a kid's grade is really struggling and they're working on improving it, if they come to me and ask me, sometimes I'll grade their stuff first and put it in put it in before I do all the other ones, so that they can see where they stand. If it's a failing issue, if their parents are contacting me, I'll grade their work first. So, one thing that is cool about my class, starts with a question. I got to ask you a question, and we're doing it fine on time for lunch, so I know you're hungry. How many of you have ever sat in a classroom and you had finished all your work, or you had finished your test, or you finished taking your notes or organizing your notebook, and you didn't have anything else to do, so you had to sit there and do nothing, or sit there and stare at the wall, or sit there and like try not to fall asleep, or sit there and fall asleep? Raise your hand if you've ever been in that situation. Look, it's almost every single person in this room. This is the biggest problem with public education. I have a son, and he's pretty smart. And it would break my heart if I thought that he was sitting in his first grade classroom and he did his work and he was just sitting there bored. What a waste of his life to spend his time in class bored. It breaks, like, I'm getting chills, like I have goosebumps, because it would break my heart. So I try to have what I call flex work in my curriculum. Flex work is work in addition to the regular curriculum. So please take a second and highlight in addition to the regular curriculum. The regular curriculum. You don't have to do it. Nobody has to do it. It's not extra credit, it's just extra assignments. So flex work is for all of you people who are like, God, I'm so bored, I just finished this. What can I do in class now? Usually it's electronic. So that if you finish, it'll be on a laptop or a cell phone or a device. Usually it's more fun, like a game or a practice or something creative. I try to have around one piece of flex work a week. So that means if you get to week 8 and you have a C and you need a B, during the very last week of school, you can complete that. During the very last week of the 9 weeks, you can complete the flex work. That's not extra credit. It doesn't raise your grade real fast, but it's a way to do some extra assignments to help build your grade, but they're not required. So what you need to know about that then, flex work will be labeled on progress book. So if you see it, if you have a 0 and it says flex, it will not negatively impact your grade. They're excluded. I only put it in to affect the grades of people who do it. And it's never a test. So I never say, oh, you finished all your work, good for you, here's a test. No, it's just something that's an extension activity, something else to read or something else to look at or a video to watch and respond to. So that's something that I hope that you guys will take advantage of uh, along the way. We don't have to go over the makeup work policy because it was in my beginning. Writing portfolios, we're going to make our new ones on Monday. The ones from Beck are pretty full. That whole case is pretty much full. I'm going to have to get a new case. We'll start fresh ones as well for your freshman year. Don't take them home because my bosses ask for them. Like, show me this student's portfolio. And you know why they do it? To make sure I'm doing my job. They don't do it to check your writing. They do it like, did Strip make them write a paper? So they're going to check, especially since they let me come down. They're going to check on me to make sure I'm doing my job, and that's okay because I get paid to do a job. I should do it. And last, and definitely least, these are your supplies for class. I would like to see you having those as early as next week. The biggest problem I come up with is highlighters, and people steal my highlighters, and I'm not rich, man. I can't just buy you highlighters all the time. So please try to invest in some highlighters for yourself. I might consider selling them at like a quarter. If I can find some good deals, I'll bring in some. Maybe you can buy them off me for change. Notebooks, pencils, pocket folders. Who in here has a notebook that they're keeping for all their classes? Like a 3-room binder and they have a section for math and a section for English. That's fine. Just make sure you have a folder where you can put English handouts. If you just have like a regular folder like this for English, perfect. If it's plastic, perfect, because the paper ones, you have to get a new one every 9 weeks or something. They disintegrate. Yes? Yeah, that seems like a good way to stay organized for your classes. And then if any of you, and I should have said this first period, I wasn't talking in here. If any of you need a 3-room binder, I have like 20 in my closet that people just left from last year. And there's some, see over here, down here, just 3-room binders up the wazoo. So if you find yours isn't big enough and you just want one that's like 1.5 inches or 2, just say, hey, can I have one? And I'll be like, here, Merry Christmas. That's why I kept them. They were going to go in the trash. So I kept them. My YouTube channel, that's for makeup work. My YouTube channel was pathetic. I'll show you it. Here's my YouTube channel.